Hey Chuck, hey Tom, good morning everybody. Welcome to another week of Train and Trade. Tom was teaching one-on-one with one of our great students, Roger Sessions, and he's probably teaching him something right now, but we'll go ahead and get started. Chuck, actually, I tell you what, let me call Tom and make sure that his sound settings are working because he could just be waiting for that song and not hearing it. So give us a few minutes. We'll get started in just a minute or two.
Yeah, meanwhile, as you're doing that, Jonathan, yeah, interesting market today. Um, if you're a bull, might not be for you unless, of course, you're looking at over at Tesla. Tesla climbed to what 477.24 right now. I think Tom on his Magic 5 put out 467.55 as the number to get above, and it has done that and more. So we definitely do have a market to be considered, but there's an awful lot of red on the screen. When we go and look at charts, you'll see that the again the S&P futures, I think, kind of a place to look here. Opened last night 68.90, trading right now 68.87, and of course most people's experience with the market so far this morning, looking at the broader market. Uh, has been kind of negative. We are coming down from a new high of the month of December, which was set right as we started reference bar three, the U.S. cash open. So it definitely feels very negative. It has been down to 68.64 quarter in the S&P March contract. But we don't really have a market completely falling apart. I think you do need to take a few steps back in perspective and see that we are trading relatively close to the open of the week. Good morning, Tom.
Well, the real story is, Chuck, is the silver trade we put everybody into. I just noticed that Frank picked up 6,200 in silver and gold futures last night, and everybody else hit it big on the SLV. So, it takes a trade like that every now and then, Chuck, and it puts everything else in perspective because you look at the if like you said on the E-mini right now, I don't know what to make of it. The only thing I do see, and it's sort of interesting, I do see that the March S&P really just taken in context looks pretty good, even though it's down. And so uh, the Nasdaq's down, like you said. Apple fell out the bottom in line with all the other Mag 7s, but Tesla's got a bid. Remember, it was the only stock last week that actually went up at Mag 7. So I think this is a Monday, and Carol just reported she made some big money on Newmont and Tesla, so she's doing great. But, if you listen, there's some opportunities, and I think that we don't want to get caught up in the short term day today because you got that transition from uh, with the mini from December to March. And I think everybody's just sort of trying to figure out. Typically, I will tell people this is typically an up week, and we'll see how the day shakes out. Keep your eye on the total range of the day and whether we close in the bottom third or the top third. If you close in the top third, even though you're lower, relative to what happened um, at the start, I think that's important. Genesis is going to play a big part, and I think that's something to look at. But what I'm doing right now is staying fleet of foot. Don't have a lot of positions on. I've been erasing a lot of things, and I think that maybe this afternoon things will clear up for us. But you had a good analysis talking about it, and does anybody have any questions for me? Let me ask that. Does anybody got any questions? Chuck, I'm doing a 101 with Roger Sessions, and we came over to the beach. They had a big blowout at our club, pipe burst and sort of knocked it out. But this is sort of nice over here. I don't know if I can hold this up and you can see behind me. I don't know if you can see the ocean behind me, but I don't know if you can see that or not. It's probably too far, but maybe that
That's
side.
that's the thing about winters in the South. They look beautiful until you open that door and feel that Arctic
Oh, I
blast.
went outside a while ago to throw away a coffee cup, and I thought to myself, "Woo, it's cold out here." You get this close to the beach. But anyway, folks, I'll be watching. And Jennifer, we might have a class over here. Uh, yeah, everything's a hold right now, Jimmy Ray. I think we got to see how this week unfolds. All right, take it away, Chuck. I'm gonna just listen from afar.
All right, and I got Jonathan here with me, of course. Now, our risk disclaimer, risk is important when you're considering trading. There is a very high degree of risk involved. Now, DTI traders, all individuals affiliated with this site assume no responsibility for your trading. Essentially, what that's saying is you and you alone are responsible for your decisions. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and that's the highlights. So, let's see, T-Buzz weekly trade letter. And Jonathan, we're getting a issue of that out tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Released Monday after the close. Broad market update, key news for the week. And we've got some big news coming up tomorrow, so pay attention. Economic reports, the BLS, Bureau of Labor and Statistics, getting caught up. Still catching up from the government shutdown. We expect to have most of that straightened out. Earnings to watch this week. Got a couple big ones. And the weekly Magic 5 stocks. We saw the ones that Tom put out this morning. For those of you following in Telegram, get a few more updates later this evening. Special opportunities. If Tom sees an opportunity worth paying attention to in the market, he's going to let you know about it. And if you'd like to have access to the T-Buzz weekly trade letter, $9.99 for 1 year access. You can see the link to sign up in the chat, dtitrader.com/weekly. Jonathan, you got anything else to add on that?
No, Chuck, you covered it nicely.
All right.
$9.99 for the full year. It's a good little report.
Yeah, and then of course, join us for Train and Trade, this session we're in right now, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. All trades in Train and Trade are tracked through T-Buzz Talk and Trade Telegram channel, which is at dtitrader.com/TNT to get involved with that one. All right.
Of course, that's
So,
Tom's most active service. It has a very similar name to what we're here doing. We're here for the free train and trade education. Talk and Trade is one of Tom's most popular trade services where he issues trades not only during the cash market hour, it's going to be option style trades during the cash market hour, but he issues anything from futures trade to buying shares pre-market and after hours as well. And it all takes place in the Telegram channel. So it's dtitrader.com/TNT for T-Buzz Talk
and
and Trade.
if you're looking for a little early morning research, that T-Buzz Talk and Trade channel, Tom was posting in there at 5:07 a.m. Eastern this morning. So 3.5 hours before, 4.5 hours before the market opened, gave you what he was looking at in terms of how the markets were performing at that time, plus his Magic 5. Pivot at 68.85. By the way, we're trading at 68.8350. So nice job on that one. Everybody else looking at the highs, and Tom saying, that pivot might be a little bit lower. So kind of keep you abreast of what's going on. And of course, we have a few other things. Really, really high on silver this morning. Yeah, let's see. So, Jonathan, this is more along your realm of expertise, finding stocks for the FTD algo. So I'm going to sit back and listen to what you got to say.
All right, thanks, Chuck. We'll just share the slides in the chat so you all can have a copy of them. Today we're going to talk about some of the scanners that we have across our platforms that we use. Of course, the Roadmap software. We showcase that every time we're live, and I'll show you a few things live today as well. And then MTI by DTI, which is our proprietary indicator over on Schwab's Thinkorswim platform. It's exclusively for Thinkorswim, that MTI by DTI. So let's show you a couple of these platforms we use here at DTI. Roadmap scans. Under or on the Roadmap software itself, there's a blue menu bar. You can kind of see a little bit right here. It looks like this. This is only a portion of it. But there's an icon along the menu bar of Roadmap that says scans, and you have all these scans right here to choose from. We'll talk about a few today. Our favorite is probably the high noon. All right, probably the high noon. And then this is what it looks like over here to the right. The first thing I'll show you is at the bottom, there's a tab for all. And what we do is we search several exchanges and pull in stocks based on our criteria, which I'll explain in a moment. But all the stocks that fit the criteria, either long or short, will filter into the report under the All tab. Now, before we go any further, this scans, and all of our scans inside the Roadmap software, they update twice a day. They update once overnight after all the closing settlement, and you can search it in the morning, like in the pre-market, for instance, and all of the stocks will be based off of the prior day's close. So I like to search it then. And then the second time the scanners inside the Roadmap update is around an hour or two after the cash market opens. So the scans begin an update around 10:30 Eastern or so, and depends on the day how long it takes. It can take a half hour or maybe 45 minutes just to search through all the exchanges out there, and it's running on all the scanners, so it takes a little bit of time. But I would say by the time you get to the Genesis hour, coming up here in about 12 minutes, by the time you get to about 11:30, then that second run of the scanners updating, all right, for the day will have taken place. So the scanners update twice a day. Just want to say that up front. Now, the high noon scanner itself, I said earlier, is one of our favorites, if not our favorite to look at, because it basically includes week-to-week tape reading involved with it. You can see there is a column, excuse me, for month open. We always track the month open and how the stock's based off of it. The last traded price, of course, is whatever the price was at the time of the update on the scanner. And so this is should be based off of Friday's close, because I built the slides before this current update is running. And then you get the prior week high, so last week's high and last week's low. And simply what we're looking for is we want stocks that are above their monthly open. And if they are, we also want them above the prior week's range. And if we can find stocks that are above their monthly open and above the prior week's range, then there should be showing a pretty nice trend. And we can narrow down further, by going to our Roadmap charts, by going to our Roadmap features, like maybe numbers that pay on Mondays, or on Tuesdays, going to the trade tracker so we can see the Monday high and low and trade off of that. So this is a very good feature. And of course, if the longs were above month open, above prior week's range, the shorts, of course, are going to be below month open and below the prior week's range. So you can probably see why we like this one so much. If it's in this report, it's making higher highs on a weekly basis and it's above the month open. Or if it's in this report, it's making lower lows on a weekly basis and below the month open. All right. So this is the high noon scanner inside the Roadmap software. I do think we have this and Roadmap Online. David's asking about Roadmap Online. Roadmap Online is a separate project from Roadmap Software. It's kind of over the years, some of the past years, we've built it out some. It's got nowhere near the capability or the amount of features as we have in the Roadmap software itself. So I would recommend using the desktop application for everything that you do. And if you have a Mac, Roadmap is a Windows-based software, but if you have a Mac, we have a lot of Mac users that get a subscription through Windows Parallels, and it runs Roadmap just fine, right? Philip just typed in Roadmap runs great on Parallels. And I think that Windows Parallels, for all you Mac users, they should have a pretty good deal going on for their monthly subscription, about half off last I looked. Not much at all. So that's the High Noon scanner. Any questions on the High Noon scanner? Now, a great question. David says, can we add Apple to the list for scanning? And you can see that when I took the snapshot, Apple was not in this report at the time. And it's going to be good, especially on a Monday. If you think about this report actually is most likely based off of last week's numbers, because at Genesis time today, the first time it updates will really be the first chance we get to see a fresh new update. So I'll take us to a live market here at the end of the roadmap portion of these slides, so we can look at all of these scanners with a live look, and that'll be a good time to do that. I'll also point out, and once we go live, I'll show you this as well. Most of our scanners, if I can get my marker to work here, most of our scanners at the bottom tabs have a deep dive tab. And that allows you to type in your own stocks. Maybe you have stocks that you don't see on this list. You can type into the deep dive tab and type your stocks in there, so you can see where the month open was and where the prior week range was. So this is a feature that'll give you that from the deep dive tab for any stock you want to type in. And then you might realize, it'll tell you a last price, and you can see, maybe I'll show you once we go live, but you'll be able to figure out, okay, well, we're slightly below last week's high. That's why it's not filtered into the alt tab. Or we're slightly, above the prior week's low, and that's why it's not filtered in there. But we'll show you that live here in just a few minutes. You'll also notice on our scans a top 20 tab. This is top 20 longs based on the last time it ran. And it's based on a percentage change from the monthly open. So very simple sorting process. It's just a percentage change from the monthly open. You might see some stocks you recognize well in the top 20 longs and shorts, and you might see some stocks you've never seen before. There's also stocks that you'll see in there that may not offer much trading opportunity. All right. So, some of the stocks that, gap way up on news, maybe takeover news, are really above their monthly open. But you go look at the chart and you can see that maybe, specifically on a takeover target, that, stock may be flatlined. There's no trade opportunity there. So you'll find those. All right. You'll also find stocks that, like we know, they might gap up and pop into the report, but from the opening reference bar, they might be trading down and taking away those gains. So there's more involved than just looking at this scanner and going to, buy or short the stocks. But the scanners are a fantastic place to start your search. We're looking at all the different exchanges out there, David. So if Jeff was here, he would tell you, because he knows exactly, but we're looking at all the major exchanges. All right. We also have a Bitcoin scanner. Let's see, what's it called? It's called a crypto scanner. Now that we had to load in all the different crypto related stocks. And so if you're looking at the crypto scanner under scans, if you find any stocks, all right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Probably a little more than that, David, 4,000 plus. Yeah. So it takes a little while to update the scanners, obviously. But if you're looking at the crypto stock and you see any of your crypto related stocks that don't show up in the crypto scanner. We're not actually scanning a crypto exchange. We had to kind of build one on our own. So we can add as many stocks as we need to. There's what the top 20 shorts looked like last time I took the snapshot. Again, tabs across the bottom for all top 20 longs, top 20 shorts, and deep dive. Here's our next report we think is real good called 5-Star Report. This is under scans. There's also a feature under tables that's called 5-Star Master Sheet, which you can basically build your own. You can notice at the bottom of this feature, there's no deep dive tab. And that's because under tables of the roadmap software, there's a feature called 5-Star Master Sheet, which is the same feature, just lets you build it out on your own. But the 5-Star Master Report, what we're doing here, it's a little bit simpler in terms of we're not giving you numbers, we're just giving you green or red stars. Here's what it means. If you get a green star under year, that means the stock is above its yearly open. If you get a green star under month, that means the stock is above its monthly open. If you get a green star on average, AVE for average, that means the stock is above its 5-day average price. All right. And yes, this is under scans along the roadmap menu bar. It's actually the first one under scans, labeled 5-Star Report. Now this this scan generates all the stocks for you. And I want to repeat here, there's no deep dive tab at the bottom like you saw on the high noon, because there's essentially the deep dive tab is under tables labeled 5-Star Master Sheet. All right, so average is 5-day average price. A green star means above the 5-day average price. Red star would mean below. The daily open is factored in. A red star means it's below the daily open. A green star means it's above the daily open. Now the rocket column. The rocket column is unique. It's something Tom came up with. What that is that factors in a 2% move above or below the monthly open. So if there's a green star there, you know the stock is at least 2% above the monthly open. Could be 2.1, it could be 25.1% above the monthly open. It just means it's at least 2% above the monthly open. Of course, a red star would mean at least 2% below the monthly open. And then the side factors in the yearly and monthly opens. If we're above both, it paints the side green. If we're below both, it paints the side red. That's what the side column does. You'll notice at the bottom, there's top 20 longs, top 20 shorts, again, based on a percentage change from the monthly open. That's the 5-Star Report. Any questions on the 5-Star Report? Again, we'll go live in a minute. Take a live look at all these. Now, speaking of 2%, this simplifies it even more. There's a lot of data you find on here, but the 2% scanner is simply to find stocks that are at least 2% above or 2% below their monthly open. All right, at least 2% above or at least 2% below their monthly open. Again, you'll have 20 longs and 20 shorts. You also have a deep dive tab here. But, think about that rocket column over on 5-Star Report. That pulls that out of there and says, here's all your stocks that are 2% above or 2% below the monthly open, and give some data to it as well. Do all the scans update at the same relative times? Yes, once overnight based off the prior day's close, and once again around an hour or two after the market opens. If you check it probably after European close, which happens at 11:30 Eastern, which is about to kick off, they should be updated at that time, Andrew. And then you should be able to check it based off of prices that were around 1 hour after the cash market opens. Jennifer says Parallels is 30% off right now. Thanks, Jennifer, for confirming that. 30% off right now on Parallels if you're a Mac user. Now the retirement calendar is going to bring up a lot of questions probably because it takes some work to get it to populate. I've taken a snapshot of the settings that I'm using to populate it, and we'll show you that live in a minute, but I wanted to get those settings on the slide here. The most important numbers to know is for a percent, it cannot be higher than 80, or I would recommend not going higher than 80. And for number of years, don't go higher than 7. You can use these settings, and you should be good to populate some stocks. And then every time you look at this report, you'll just have to update the start date and stop date. All right. And a lot of this may not be making sense. If this is the first time you've seen it, that's fine. We'll talk about it more in just a bit. But notably, and I mentioned this a couple of times because it's that important. If you want stocks to filter into this report, don't go higher than 80 on percent and don't go higher than 7 on the number of years. And I'll explain why in just a bit. Once you run the report, though, it looks something like this, and we're going to talk about this live. So let's go to a live market. We'll come back to the slides in a bit. We're looking at the roadmap software. This is the S&P futures. See, it's trading at 68.99 as we open the Genesis reference bar. European markets are now closed. And we're slightly above Tom's pivot. Let's close this chart down. Let's go to scans. You can see across the menu bar, we have scans. I'll show you a high noon report first. And here's your high noon report. You can see Apple's still not on here. So let's go to the deep dive tab and I'll just type in Apple. And you can see Apple's trading at 275.54. Last week, it made a high of 280 and a low of 273.81. So if it falls below 273.81, and if it's below 273.81 by the time the scanner runs next, it'll populate into the all tab as a short. Or if it is above 280.03 at the time the next scanner runs, it'll populate into the all tab as a long. You can also just leave it on deep dive tab if you want and type in your stocks. All right. Make sure you click onto the next row before you type in the stock, but you can kind of see how that works. You can also right click and hit update to have it update. So that's the deep dive tab. All right. You can see Amazon right there already filtered in to the all tab, showing up red on the deep dive tab. You can kind of see how it works. Let's live look at the high noon. To delete a symbol, great question because it's right here from the menu, right click on the row. So you might have to left click to get the little dotted outline around the, around the box first to indicate where your mouse is, and then right click and delete. You can also use that shortcut, just delete on your keyboard. It might work a little bit quicker. So you can delete on the deep dive tab. You'll want to leave the top 20 longs and shorts alone. I'm not sure you can even delete on those. No, you can, but I wouldn't do that. Just leave it alone. Surprised you can even do that. If you do delete one on the top 20 longs or top 20 shorts, you can right click and update and it will, repopulate the stocks. There's Tesla. Chuck mentioned Tesla earlier, right here in our top 20 longs, right near the top of the board even. Again, the top 20 longs based on a percentage change from the monthly open. Vice versa for shorts. Under scans, let's see, the next one we looked at was 5-star report. There's a live looking at that one. All right, so you can kind of see that these stocks have now updated from our slides. I'll show you the difference here. Let's go back to the slide deck, and I might just update the slide just to make it clear for everybody for the new week. But that's how this top 20 looked at the end of last week. And at the first scan that I was not able to get on the slides from earlier, but I am now that it's updated. This is how it looks after the first scan. We got Dollar Tree leading the way. There's Tesla and a few others you probably recognize on that list. Here's your top shorts. And it goes to 20. I have to open up some space here. Next scanner up was 2%. You got that from the 5-star report, essentially. Let's go over to the retirement calendar, because I know there's going to be a lot of questions on this. First of all, if you look at this report, the win percentage tells you how many of the years it works, and that's relative to this total. So if you put your eyes on this total number of years and the win percentage, what we're doing with this report is we're scanning back 10 years worth of data. And we're trying to figure out, okay, of the past 10 years, how many times could you have bought a stock on a specific date, held it for 10, 20, or 30 days as a holding period, and made money? So whatever the stock is here, CWEN, over the past 10 years, it's traded on December 18th. It has traded on December 18th 7 times. Now, why only 7 times and not 10? Well, if you think about how the calendar days work, December 18th fell on a weekend at least twice, if not 3 times, over the past 10 years. So only 7 of the 10 years it actually traded because of, and the way this works, either holidays or weekends is why the number is lower than 10. And of those 7 years, if we have a win percentage of 85.71% is what this is telling us, that means it worked 7 out of 10 years. 6 out of 7 years. 6 divided by 7 is 85.71%. If you did the math, you brought up a calculator and did that. But so we're looking at number of years it actually traded on a specific date. How many of those years it worked? If it's 85%, it's 6 out of 7. There's a 7 out of 8, 87.5%, worked 7 out of 8 times. There's 7 out of 7. All right. Twilio, 7 out of 7. And if you look over here to the right, it says how many days hold it was, 10 days from the backtest study. And so on January 17th, this is saying that 7 of the past 10 years is actually traded on January 17th, and all 7 years it's worked. Buying Twilio, holding it for 10 days, and it gives you an average P&L of 7%. That's pretty darn good. Might have to mark that one down. Here's Google on January 4th. Google, another well-known stock. 8 out of the last 10 years it traded on January 4th, and buying it for a 20-day hold. It worked 8 out of 10 years. So pretty neat little scanner. That's where we're just trying to find seasonal tendencies in the stocks. You'll find stocks you recognize well. You'll find other stocks you've never even seen before. You have to go research about them a little bit. At the very bottom, if you click on settings, all right, settings. This is the most important part of this presentation in terms of the retirement calendar, because these settings can be kind of finicky here. If you look along the far left, there's a bunch of checkable boxes. I've got the box checked for optionable. I've got the box checked for percent. And again, I've got it at 80%. Wouldn't go higher than 80%. The goal of these settings is not to find perfect setups. There's no such thing as a perfect setup. You just want to have results populate into the report tab. And you got to specify the results with not too strict a criteria to have results populate in, essentially. So number of years is checked also, and again, don't go above 7. And you kind of saw in the report, you can still get stocks that are at 8, right? Those are going to be few and far between, because most of the stocks in the days, I mentioned at least 2, if not 3 of each calendar day will fall on a holiday or a weekend specifically. So keep that in mind. Just leave the number of years at 7. We're going to skip past the start date, stop date for now, and go down to price minimum, price maximum. I've got it set at 30 and 500. You can really change those to whatever you want. You can even uncheck and don't even fill those out if you would like to do that. Now, down the middle column, you can only have one of these checked. All right. I would recommend only having, well, you could have up to 2, I guess, or up to 3. But look at the top 3. It says last above week open, last above month open, last above year open. If you have last above year open checked like I do, you cannot check last below year open. Because the way this works is the feature will search for stocks last above year open, all right? And if it has that stock last above year open, like Dollar Tree we found from the scanners, it'll then search and say, is Dollar Tree also below the year open? And it will cancel out, and then Dollar Tree won't show up on the report anymore. So hopefully that makes sense. Only have one of the above year open checked. You can't have below year open. Now you can also have above month open or above week open, but you can't have the above and the adjacent below of the whatever key open it was both checked. So keep that in mind. Now here come the dates, and this is the most confusing part for most people. The start date has a little box out here. It says 12/15, and if you have a calendar box over here to the right, yours probably doesn't say 12/15 by default. All right, it says something else. If you click the calendar, if you've run this before, you know, it might say October of 2025. Or if you've never run this before, it might say December of 2012 or August of 2012. And that's fine. Just know that it takes a little work to get it up to the current date. So on the start date, you click the calendar, and right down here at the bottom, you click today's date. And that fast forwards the calendar to today's date, which is what you want your start date to be. The stop date is what really confuses folks. For the stop date, we're actually going to go to today's date first. All right, because again, this might say August of 2012 or June of 2014. I don't know what it's going to say for you, but you got to fast forward it to today's date quickly. You don't want to just cycle through the months, right, to today's date. You want to just click today's date, 12/15/2025. And then we want the stop date to be further out in the future than the start date. That's what confuses most folks. All right. We're searching. Let's go out to February, end of Feb. All right, let's put February 22nd. So what I did, I clicked the today's date first. Then I went back into the calendar and went out a couple months. Let's just bring it out to February. All right. What we're doing, we're setting a date of December 15th out to February 28th. We're setting that 2-month date or 3-month date, however many months it is, 2.5. We're using that 2.5-month block of time to then search back historically. So we're going to search 2025's data, or actually 2024/2025 data, if you get the idea, from December 15th of 2024 to February 28th of 2025. We're searching the stocks for that date and time. Then we go 1 year back, search from December 15th from 2023 up to Feb 28 of 2024. And we keep falling back year after year after year, but you see how we've pulled out just that section of time to search historical data on. All right, so it can be a little confusing. We're setting our start date to the current day. We're setting our stop date to someday out in the future. I chose February 28, 2026. And now we're using that 2.5-month block of time to search back historically to find seasonal trends in stocks. So hopefully I explained that pretty well. Once you have all your settings set up, you've got 3 download buttons right here. You'll want to click one at a time. Download report, download optionals, download fundamentals. And when all that runs, you're going to click Save Settings at the far right, or the right column, Save Settings, and then you're going to click the Update button. And then the feature is going to get to work searching back in time. You have to take it a few minutes to do so. At this point, it's almost done, but not quite done. Once it's officially done, it'll actually jump back over to the report tab and show you the results. And there they are. All right, there they are. You should still see most of the same stocks, but even more stocks since I went out an additional month in the report there. And you might have to open up some more space to see all the different columns. But that's the retirement calendar searching for seasonal tendencies in stocks. And those are the roadmap scanners. All sorts of different scanners inside the roadmap. Then we have MTI by DTI, of course, which is our indicator that goes on Schwab Thinkorswim. This is what the charts look like. And the charts are really, really very simple. They're easy to look at and easy to spot trending markets. Like this is General Motors. And you can see here a couple of different things. It might be hard to see, but there's a little gray line that shifts. All right, I'm trying to mark it. There's a gray line that is a horizontal line until the new month starts. And then, it shifts up, horizontal line for the month. It shifts up. That's one of the indicators you get on those MTI charts. Then you have our MTI lines, our proprietary MTI lines that they also kind of have a shift look to it, but they're going to showcase more of a trend. All right, and simply put, we want the stock above the monthly open and above these white lines. If you want to keep it super simple, you want the stock above the white lines. All right, just like General Motors is here. There are green arrows that point up when a new buy signal is hit. There are red arrows that show up when a new sell signal is hit. There's also yellow arrows, which tells you it's time to get out of the prior, setup. All right, so had you long over here, but you can't see it. Then it had a yellow arrow and a red arrow pop up on the same day. It got you out of the long and got you short. And then over here, this one right here, it got you out of the short, got you long. You can see how it works. I'll coded the setup for you, but it's a great tool to just cycle through your stocks and see, okay, what's above the MTI lines trending higher? What's below the MTI lines trending lower? On the intraday chart, that's a 30-minute chart to the right. We're just looking at short-term entry and exit techniques based off these MTI lines. Works the same way. Above the MTI lines, think long. Below the MTI lines, think short. All right, but it's a much, much shorter time frame. For scanning purposes, the left daily chart is what most of you will probably use. And because of that, we built some actual scanners. This over here to the left is just a watch list. It's just simply a watch list, and I've got the NASDAQ 100 loaded in. But on the watch list, we can add our MTI scanners. So, or some might refer to them as a watch list indicator. But the left scanner here, the left column of the colored portion here on the table, that's our daily scanner. All right. So if General Motors was showing here, it would be green on the left, just like Airbnb is, just like Adobe. All right, all those that are green down this left scanner. You can see some that are bright green. Those, at the time I took this snapshot, those are, just above their MTI lines today. You might see some that are bright red. Those are just below their MTI lines today. And then you see some that are yellow. Those are not quite, it says to go L, to go long, 52 cents. Down here at the bottom. That's not quite ready for a new buy signal, but it's getting close. All right, same for this one up here. So there's quite a bit going on actually on this MTI scanner. The left one, it says MTI scan. That's the daily scan. I also threw on the MTI intraday scan here to tell you what's setting up on the intraday, much, much shorter time frame. But again, MTI by DTI, you get a combination of the scanner plus the charts. All right, and you can set it all up so the scanner's along the left portion of your screen, the charts are out to the right, and you can literally just click on one stock and then punch your arrow keys on your keyboard if you like doing that. as long as the charts are connected to your watch list, you can just cycle through your charts. I know a lot of people like to do that. Well, with the MTI by DTI indicator on Thinkorswim, you can do that. Cycle as much as you want. Any questions on MTI by DTI? Again, this is our proprietary indicator inside exclusively on the Schwab Thinkorswim platform. Great for finding longer term setups, swing style setups. MTI by DTI. The time frame for the intraday scanner is at 30 minutes. Jim, thanks for asking. That 30 minutes. So the same thing you see over here on the 30-minute charts should be how it's setting up on the scanner. How do you pull the scanner up on TOS? So if I take you to the member site, here, let me pull that up on another screen. All you MTI by DTI members, and we're going to show you a video here to learn more about it in just a minute. But once you get joined, if you're already a member, let me do this. You can search for Market Timing Indicator on our one-click membership website, Market Timing Indicator. And right here, where it says Market Timing Indicator, I can't click on it live here, but if you click into that section that says Market Timing Indicator, it will have the MTI codes. MTI codes is what you're going to use to install both the MTI charts and install the MTI scanners. They're really pretty simple to install. We have instructional videos that you can start and stop as needed that I did. You can pause and start, stop and start as you need to. But just a few steps. The scanners are really, really easy. The charts a little bit more involved to get them set up exactly the way that you might want them set up. But John, those scanners are really easy to get installed. Just check out the Market Timing Indicator section of our member site. All right, speaking of MTI by DTI, I've got a video to play, but if you're going to go ahead and get joined, go to dtatrader.com/MTI. You can call us at 904-706-3532. All right, everybody loves the MTI. Everybody that has MTI, a lot of them eventually, a lot of the folks that have MTI eventually head over to Roadmap to get the reference bar analysis, but you don't necessarily have to do that. MTI by DTI is a great standalone addition to your platform there, and most people use Thinkorswim, so it all makes sense there. MTI by DTI for the Thinkorswim platform. Go to dtatrader.com/MTI. It's lifetime access for $14.97, or call us 904-706-3532. Any questions on MTI by DTI or the roadmap before I play this short little video on MTI by DTI from Tom? You can learn much more about the Market Timing Indicator. Yeah, right. Whenever we issue an update on the indicator, we might add to the indicator, make it better. We'll issue that update in the member site under Market Timing Indicator. All right. So we will do that. Great question. It's still the same code as of the video I'll show you. The last time Tom went live and spoke about this, still the same code, or codes, I should say, for the chart and the scanners. So again, really important. We've made several updates to this over the years, and we got rid of the kind of pay per update. We used to charge per update. We got rid of all that. If you join for $14.97, it's a lifetime access. There's no additional fees. Every time we update it and make a change and make it better, you get the update. So it's really a much better kind of structure to our offering than we used to have. It's lifetime only access, $14.97. Once it's on your computer, you got it. If you get another computer and download Thinkorswim, the codes are still there on the member site. If you to download it again, we'll help you download it. It might probably be me personally or someone else on the team that will help you get it downloaded. All right, so go to dtishredder.com/MTI or give us a call 904-706-3532. I'm going to queue up that video. We're looking forward to a good week here in the markets. It is rollover week, so keep that in mind. Sometimes the volume can get a little squirrely on rollover week. So if you're trading futures contracts, they rolled this morning. And the December contract will officially expire on Friday morning. Chuck's already told you all this, but those index futures have rolled, so be careful of that. dtishredder.com/MTI, though, to get the market timing indicator. And let me queue up that video. Thanks again for being here. Tonight after the close, or this afternoon after the close, will be our T-Buzz weekly trade letter. And tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time will be the Futures First education with Tom.
Okay. We've abbreviated and we say it's MTI by DTI. You got to be a computer whiz to use this one. If you can know the current price, know how to read this, you will be better at trading and analyzing anything you'll see on TV or anybody you ever listen to if you'll follow a couple simple rules. Who likes that? Who would like to have that inside ability to look at any market, any ticker to determine what you should be doing? I'd say if we're in a classroom, if we're at Sawgrass, which happens on the first weekend of June, this year it'll be on May 31st, you know what? I would say, how many of you are using MTI by DTI? All you have to do is copy that link, you get it. Very simple to put in, takes you less than 4 minutes. You go through your portfolio. What a week to have this. Jim says I use MTI every day, all day long. I do too, Jim. John, everybody that's got it loves it. It was something that I put together with my good friend, Tom Delager, over an Easter weekend over 2 years ago. We were looking for a simple way to get people on the right side of the market. You put this on your computer, you dial it in, and you got the news. Let me show you how easy it is. Watch this. Bang. Copy, paste it, and we got a download guide to show you how to do it. Pretty good stuff, step by step. I like steps, don't you? In the video download guide, you see exactly what to do to get the market timing indicator up and running. No extra steps, that's simple. The simplest thing in the world to do. All you have to do is see, you see that look right there? That arrow is pointing up, isn't it? What would that mean? That means whatever ticker you had in there was telling you it was going higher. Okay? That's pretty cool. I talked to Nate about this. I had him do some work with me on it. TGTX was an example. Look at it now. Called it way before it happened. It gives you a forecast. You got two charts. You got a daily chart and a 30-minute chart, or you can take it down to 15 minutes to get on the right side of the market. Anytime, day or night. That's the beauty of it. TGTX was an example of forecasting the market. It was about to take off on the daily. When it got above, now it's long on the daily, then it got long on the short term. It's time to fire off. That's simple. We also included to tell you what stocks are best performing in here. If you get the market timing indicator, you get what we call our opportunity scanner. Analyze the entire stock market. That's what it looks like. Can y'all read that? The top 4 stocks are telling you to get short. Everything after that is telling you to get long. That's pretty simple, isn't it? Like a green light, red light. You see it, and it keeps up and doesn't jump back and forth either like a lot of those things do. This is a solid signal when it happens. You know when to get in, when you got the match. Above the long term, above the short term. Can you write that step one down? Put that in here. Step one, above the long term, above the short term. That's a buy. December 8th, it found Universal Health had a new buy signal. And what happened? It went straight up. Look at it. There it is, the green arrow. Everybody was negative. Look at it then. Took off like a rocket once the signal came. The market timing anywhere, you saw the impression, 151% on options in 45 days. Folks, this thing plays for keeps. Here's BlackRock. Look at that. There's the buy, BlackRock. There's the green arrow, and there's the tear it went on. This just doesn't happen once. Look at that. You see that 310% in less than 2 months? Pretty good stuff. The opportunity scanner gives you these opportunities every day. You put it into your system and it does it. Plus the market timing indicator signaling your entries and exits on each trade. Now, we started to price it, but then we came up with a better idea. How many people like getting something and owning it where you never pay anything else? That is MTI. Once you subscribe to MTI, it's yours. And we give you free upgrades too. Now, we started there, we came a lot lower to do this. Get you to take action. I wanted everybody to have it on their computer where I understand when I say we're going to buy on this silver. Put silver in there tonight. You'll see what I'm talking about. We have a workshop I created on how to use it long term. Nothing complicated, but I go through the steps to make a long-term trade right here with MTI. What about if you want to be short term, which would be very handy this week? I go through the steps. Swing trade, few days. It's all there. Income trades. You like extra income? I use it all the time for that. And then once you have all that training, put it together in a simple, usable format where you're organized in steps with what you're trying to accomplish, which is grow your account. This is a powerful master class on putting it all together for you. You can take, regardless of your experience, you can take and be ahead of a lot of people. Clear overview of the market timing indicator. Any strategy, it's all incorporated. The way I would think about it, using all my experience, get me on the side of the market that's good. They wanted to sell the workshop separately. I said, no, it's part of the program. You got to have the education, don't you? So I said, no, we're going to include it. The market timing indicator, you get all the master classes, totally part of the package. They stuck with that price. I said, no, let's get better. Carol, one of our greatest students of all time, I would call her, okay? She loves it. Thank you, Carol, for chiming in from California. In fact, after the market timing indicator, and after you figure out the opportunities, can you remember when we did that at Sawgrass? I got him to program the intraday for us with the numbers. Pretty cool stuff. Entry, trailing stop, and extra criteria is all there. Now, we're not going to pay the $3.99. I'm here live tonight. I want you to get it. If you don't have it, use the market timing indicator right tonight. Because you're here, I'm live. I'm going to give a 50% discount on the price. The market timing indicator, $19.97, but I'm not done. I'm going to go further. Not done yet. During this webinar, while I'm live, direct access for the rest of your life at no additional cost. All upgrades included, no subscription fees, no data fees, no annual renewals, recurring charges, anything like that. It's all there. Make your decision. Included unlimited free code updates that we do. That means if we add any new features or functions to market timing indicator opportunity scammer, there it is in the code. Get the new download, and that's your update without having to pay the upgrade fee. $19.95 is for a lifetime is an absolute steal. It's such a good indicator. You gotta have it. NVIDIA was on top of NVIDIA when it was making 24% in a month, not just 1 month, but many months. Lunar became a moonshot after it got to buy signal. MSTR did the same thing, 214% gain on that one. Nothing should stop you tonight. MTI, the additional $500 off takes the total price down to $14.97. It's the lowest price it'll ever be, folks. $14.97. There's no short term. You own it. We give it to you and we keep you going. You'll use this thing for years to buy that out. Here it is. If you're ready, post it in here. Save thousands of your lifetime membership right now. Additional $500 off. Click the link in the chat. Go to dtitrader.com/MTI. Now here's what I'm gonna say. If you want this right now and you want to get in the fast lane to get it, put your name in here. Adam will send you the special link that takes you through all the noise and gets you right to the buy zone. Okay? So if you want it, tell us now. Adam will handle that, and we will give you that special link saying, hey, here it comes. Don't